Positioning is how people think of a brand in comparison to others. And a lot of times the reason why creators aren't working with the clients that they want is because they're just poorly positioned in the marketplace.
You need to think about who you want to serve. Thinking about where you want to sit in the market is really important in what you want to attract.
You don't have a lack of skill. The skill is not the issue. It's how you're positioned. But with that being said, there are so many talented people out there that quality is now expected.
Brands want specialists. They want people that are the best at certain things.
So when you specialize and you niche down on a specific thing that you do, there will naturally be less competition. If you think about restaurants and you want the best food, if you want the best steak, if you want the best Thai food, if you want the best Italian food, you're gonna go to a restaurant that specializes in that cuisine. They've then positioned themselves as them doing that dish the best, so you're willing to pay a premium price because you want the best of that food.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 124 of the 505 podcast. Let's get this one-handed crack, dude.
Start us off.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a high score. I can feel it. And that was like a 9-7, dude. Seriously, that was
legit.
insane.
Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm. You know what it is? These little cans are really helping you out a lot.
They are. I did have a little dent. I can't lie.
I thought you were in the sixes at least that time, dude. 4-9 because you really did well. It's the best I've ever seen you do it. I just sat in a cold tub for like 17 minutes, man.
17?
Set a new record.
That must be like a world record.
World record.
How you feeling?
Wim Hof called mid plunge, and he's like,
wow.
He's like, you can come up to my land now. So I think I'm going to take him up on that offer.
You going to go hang out with him?
Yeah, I think that I could.
The Iceman?
Yeah, I could do it, I think. Dude, this pod is one that is going to really help your creative business and where you guys are going to sit in the market.
Yes.
I think that no matter what industry you're in, you can always be like the Walmart. You can be a cheaper option, or you can try to be the Louis Vuitton, the Chanel, the Dior. You know, you can sit up there with the big dogs.
Yeah.
And both ends of this spectrum can make great money. Yeah. That's the other thing that I think people have maybe a misconception on is they're like, I'm charging a little less. You can still make good money charging the least in your category.
Totally.
You're probably going to be working a lot more though than the people that are charging more for their work.
Totally.
To start us off, what does positioning mean? It's a buzzword, like people are throwing that around, but I think it's really important. What does that mean?
So positioning is how people think of a brand in comparison to others. So for example, we can take a gym, right? You have a ton of different gyms. You'll have 24-Hour Fitness, Planet Fitness, Equinox, Monarch, which we go to. They're all gyms, but they're all positioned differently. So Planet Fitness, they're positioned to target like someone who...
Their first time working out.
They have like pizza, you know?
Yeah.
It's less daunting of a thing to go to the gym and work out. So that's how they position themselves. 24-Hour Fitness is like a cheaper gym that's accessible to like the masses. Equinox is like an elevated gym. It's going to cost you more money, but the experience is going to be elevated and it's a nicer gym. And then Monarch is positioned as a all-in-one gym. You get personal trainer, physical therapy, access to a physician. This might just turn into an ad for Monarch. And it's a lot more expensive than an Equinox, but it's positioned differently. So positioning is how people perceive your brand and what makes you different. And a lot of times the reason why artists, creators, photographers, videographers aren't working with the clients that they want is because they're just poorly positioned in the marketplace.
Yeah. And before you take off on this journey, right, you need to think about who you want to serve. And I want to take it back to when I was at Oregon because I was working for the Ducks. I had a really cool job. We're getting to shoot football and basketball, but I didn't really have a lot of money, right? I was still going to school and I'd take these jobs that I didn't really want to do, $100 jobs, $200 jobs, $300 jobs. And I wouldn't post about them purposefully because I didn't want that type of work. And especially when I was starting out and I was doing weddings because they paid great money. I was getting like $1 to $2 to $3 grand, sometimes even $4 grand for these weddings for just one day and then to go edit. But I didn't want wedding jobs. So I wouldn't share that I was doing wedding jobs. And I didn't want to position myself as a wedding filmmaker. Nothing wrong with wedding filmmakers. I think it's awesome. I'm going to hire one day. I need one, right?
Sooner.
I don't know. We'll figure that out. Thinking about where you want to sit in the market is really important and what you want to attract. And we can even go back to like when you were doing the concert stuff and before you had any of that stuff on social, you're creating high quality stuff. You're working with brands consistently. You're like, okay, this is a person that I would want to work with. I want this person to shoot my content. I have an idea of his personality from the stuff that he's making. And then when Joe and Andrew needed someone, they're like, this guy looks like someone we could maybe hang out with for an extended period of time.
Totally.
And they wanted to have you on tour with them, right? And so thinking about the things you're posting, the messaging that you're posting, like, dude, for example, there's someone that I know that I used to follow, and every single story was like them getting hammered, them like showing that they're drinking, that they're partying. If I'm a brand, that's probably not something that I want to align with. Totally fine. Go party, whatever. Every single weekend, you shouldn't have like 14 stories up of you just absolutely obliterated on social media. It's not a good look for this brand. And maybe like all of your content that you actually post is health and wellness. They're like, there's a misalignment here. Something isn't clicking. So it's very important to think about where you're going to sit in the marketplace.
I think both of us have done a great job of positioning ourselves to be able to land, the dream clients that we want to work with. For example, you just helped me shoot something for Mercedes Benz. Mercedes is like such a dope brand and a brand I've been wanting to work with for a very long time. We brought up Monarch, right? We've talked about it. It's a gym that me and Brayden go work out at, but I do the social media video for them. I hardly post about it, like ever. The reason for that is because I don't want to be necessarily seen as like a gym videographer. It's something that I do. It's great. I get a free personal trainer out of it and they pay me on top of it. It's a great gig, but I don't necessarily post about it on my social media or post the work that I make for them because I just don't necessarily want more of that work. The reason why I was able to get a Mercedes Benz brand deal is because when a brand comes to my page, they see that I'm like a lifestyle, influencer, content creator, but they also see that I make high quality video and photo content. And so like they want to work with a person like that. If I was posting a lot of the stuff that I was doing for Monarch, I don't necessarily think that a brand like Mercedes Benz would want to work with me because it's not directly aligned.
You'd get supplement companies.
Exactly.
And you'd maybe get other gyms that want to have you come hang out with them. And like, I'll see people send me their pages, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing this. I don't want to like bash on you guys that are doing this, but you got like 17 things that are on your page. And it's very hard for a brand to pop on and say, what does this person do really well?
Yeah.
And as we've done this for longer periods of time, like I've been making videos for over 10 years. Like we've been making stuff for so long. And brands want specialists. They want people that are the best at certain things, right? And Kostas and I, when we were thinking about this pod, he brought up like, if I had like a Ferrari, right?
Totally.
And my car gets broken, I'm not going to Joe Schmo's auto shop down the street. I'm going to a Ferrari specialist because I know that I'm going to get great service and that this person is dialed in on how Ferraris work and they're going to make my car look great, right?
Absolutely.
And like, even when you're thinking about content, I'm doing something right now with Meta, which is another dream client. Dude, come on, let's go. We love dream clients around here. I'm doing something with Meta, and she's like, you really have a great presence on social. You're not only really good at making the thing, but you can make our brand into this video and it's seamless. It doesn't feel like an ad.
Totally.
And like, that's what these brands are wanting, right? And so if you can align your content to where it's easily plug and play with brands that you want to work with, you're going to work with brands till the day you die, and you're going to love doing it, and you're going to get paid what you're worth. But it's all where you sit in the market though.
Totally.
A lot of people want to land their dream client though.
They do.
How can they do it?
Well, one of the ways is to position yourself correctly. What we did though, is we're going to peel back the entire playbook of how to land your dream client. Me and Brayden have been working for quite a while, the past few months, on creating this unbelievable cohort for you guys. What it's going to be is it's going to be 12 calls, 2 calls a week for 6 weeks. And we're going to cover everything from positioning, how to market yourself, how to generate leads, and everything that encompasses what it takes to land your dream client. A lot of you guys message us and say like, I want to work with the brands that you guys are working with, Meta, Mercedes Benz, Adobe, all these big brands. You guys just saw that we went to Sony Kando. The only way to do that is to position yourself correctly, but there's so much else that goes into how you can position yourself to be able to land your dream client. And I know that's something that a lot of you guys want to do.
Dude,
So
it's the business side
Exactly.
of what this stuff takes. Like, so many of you are insane creatives. You're like insane. You're fantastic at design. You're fantastic at photo. But when you get on the phone with these clients,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to charge this. And then they're like, sounds good. That's the worst feeling ever. You get on the phone, you say a number, they go, that's great. You messed something up. You didn't ask the proper questions. It's the difference between these subtle things that you can ask on the phone that make you be seen as such a different expert in this field, rather than just this baby rock that is like, oh, I'm a videographer. I bring my camera around and I shoot videos. Rather, oh, this is the go-to person in this field that we want to work with. And that is the difference between like someone that's getting $500 or $5,000 for the exact same piece of content. And we've seen it time and time again. It's like, these people hit you up and I'm like, wow, your work is insane. And they're like, I'm not making any money with this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing? Are we reaching out to people? What's your strategy for getting leads? And like, well, I don't have one. That is exactly what we're going to cover in this thing. It's going to be insane. You'll have access to all the content for life. It's the first link down in the description to sign up for that wait list. This is going to be dropping the 17th of September. So you better get on the wait list because those people are going to be the first to know. And I know that the spots are going to fill up for it. We're only going to run this thing a few times a year. And this first one's going to be cheaper than it'll ever be. So I would highly recommend checking out the wait list, getting on there and DMing us if you have any questions about it.
yeah, spots are going to be limited. Sign up for the wait list. And let's get into this positioning podcast because we got a lot of value to provide for you guys today. So for people who are poorly positioned, right? It's the reason why you're probably not working with the brands that you want to be working with. There's a couple of things that you might be struggling with. So either you're not well known, so you're anonymous. So like no shit that the clients can't find you because they literally don't know about you. You have a lack of sales flow. So you just don't have enough opportunities. You need to compete on price and you're scared to charge higher because you're scared you're going to lose work. I've been there. You've been there when we were first starting out. You feel like if you throw out the number that you want to charge, you have this like limiting belief that it's too high. So you almost start negotiating with yourself of like, I really want to be charging $1,500 or $2,500 for this video, but like, I don't think they're going to say yes. So I'm just going to say that I'll do it for like $250 or like $500. And we're going to help you figure out how to not do that. You're easily replaceable. The clients dictate the terms, which is like the worst thing.
Oh, awful.
And you're limited to local clients. What's so cool about what me and you do is, yes, there's clients that we work with that are local here in LA. There's a bunch of awesome clients to work with here in LA, but we've worked with clients all over the US and even, abroad.
On the topic of price, I think this is really important. You need to think about not just like, okay, how long is this going to take me to shoot? How long is this going to take me to edit? You have to think about so many different things. You have to think about usage rights. Usage rights are massive in what we do. And many of you aren't even thinking about that. Like you can charge anywhere from like 10 to 20% of that overall number if they're running it with ads monthly, which is insane. So many of you are leaving money on the table in regards to usage rights. The other thing is like you should have a day rate to shoot. You should have a day rate to edit. That's like the industry standard, right? But then you need to think about the value that you're providing to this specific client. I read a book by Ron Baker talking about value-based pricing in his accounting firm. And like so many creative people are adding this into what they're doing. And it's essentially not saying, oh, I have like this cookie cutter price for if someone comes to me, this is how much it costs. A lot of you have that. You're like, this is a basic, this is a premium, and this is like the platinum package, right? Instead of doing that, every single client, you're taking them for what they are and learning about what it is that they need and seeing if you can actually help them. But you need to figure out what this problem is that you're solving. Is it, hey, I'm adding 10% to overall, like I'm trying to add 10% new customers and you guys have 1,000 customers. So we need to get 100 new customers based off of this content. And this will be a home run for you guys. So many of you are just like, oh, it's just a video. And you're just seen as a videographer, right? And it's like, there's so much more that goes into this and trying to figure out, hey, if you're writing, that's pre-production. If they're coming to you with the idea and you don't have to do anything, you might just have to go shoot something, shoot an event. That's totally different. But if they're coming to you and they're giving you a brief, you're having to concept up all these things, that's pre-production. If you're having to go shoot it, that's production. That's another price. And you're having to edit it, that's post-production. And you need to be thinking about all of these different things into the price for what it is that you guys are doing. It's going to take everything you're doing to such a higher level. And when you have a process that you can walk them through, you're able to charge more. Dude, the difference is like when we were starting out, right? And many of you are in this boat with design, photo, video. You just show up, you got your camera, you shoot the stuff, you go home, you cut it, you send it over. Whenever. There's no process to the things you're doing. when you get on the phone and you ask really high quality caliber questions, one, they're going to see you as an expert. You're positioning yourself as an expert in said thing. Oh, I'm the best at cars, or I'm the best at this specific thing. I love nature. I'm the nature person, right? We saw that at Sony Kando.
Yeah.
All of these people that I'm talking to, I'm like, oh, this is the best person at tech. And that's why they're able to get these $25,000 deals to go post one reel, because they're the best at tech and they're like in this specific field, right? So when you go and you're working with these different clients, there's so many different people that are saying, oh, you should niche down or you should not niche down. And if you're in a business field, not just a creator, you're not like a creator, you're in the business of, you have a service that you're providing, you should be thinking about what it is that thing is that you like to do the best and what you are the best at. Like, where can you get to the top 5% in a few years in said field? Go run away with that and try to be the best in that specific field. Don't try to be in the top 20%. Try to be in like that top 5%. You'll make great money and you'll have a very successful career.
You said that a lot of the people out there are super talented photographers and videographers.
Most of them, dude.
Most of you who are listening,
talented.
Most of you guys, most of you rocks who are listening to our podcast, you don't have like a skill, like you don't have a lack of skill. The skill is not the issue. It's how you're positioned. But with that being said, there are so many talented people out there that quality is now expected. Like, it's no longer good enough to just be good and have that be the thing that separates you from the competition. Everybody out there is good, especially out here in LA. Like,
everyone's good.
Dude, everyone's good. So you have to find something that's going to separate you from the competition other than the quality of your work. And you want to make it as easy as possible on these potential leads and these potential new clients for them to choose you. Yes, your work is incredible, but like, what else separates you from the competition?
In your opinion, do you think someone should specialize, or do you think someone should be kind of like a jack of all trades?
Well, I think that the biggest way to separate yourself from the competition is to become a specialist. Now, a few things happen when you become a specialist. First of all, there's little or less competition. When you're the best at said thing, let's take something very niche like an FPV pilot, right? You might be a videographer who can, use a Ronin, you film, a bunch of different niches, like you do sports and concerts and events. And then you also can fly drones, and then you also do FPVs. It's so cool that you can do all these different things. But if I am, let's just say I'm Steven Spielberg and I need a sick FPV pilot for my next movie. I'm not going to go to the guy who can do everything. I want the best. So when you specialize and you niche down on a specific thing that you do, there will naturally be less competition, because you're like, look, if you want to work with somebody who can like kind of get the job done, great. I'm not the guy for you. But if you want the best, I'm the best because I specialize in this. For example, Blue Stripe, the production company that you started with Sharif, you guys specialize in video content for the phone.
Yes.
There are so many production companies out there who are doing big commercials.
And I'm not going to beat them.
Exactly. They have
and limitless resources.
They have unlimited resources, and they've been doing it for a lot longer than you guys. But what your competitive advantage is you guys know the phone better than damn near everybody out there because you've been doing it for so long.
And that's where you win on the phone, dude. It's like, I think about the people and the brands and companies that we're going up against, and they're big dogs. They're really good at what they do. They're insane at broadcast. They've been in the space for 25 years. So then when you get a guy who's younger or a team that's younger on the phone, my entire pitch is I'm going to beat them on the phone. Yeah. And that's where your stuff is living, right? So like, where's it going? It's going on Instagram. It's going on Reels. It's going on Facebook. It's going on TikTok. I'm like, that company is not going to make a better video that performs better on that platform. Yeah. I guarantee it. And they're also, I also practice what I preach though. Totally. I make content. So it's like, hey, look at what we're doing here. It's successful. I'm not like these huge people, but I'm doing stuff that's working clearly, right? These brands want to get behind it because they're like, that's cool. We want to put our brand behind it. You need to do what I like to call like a SWOT analysis. We did this in school, right? You need to look at the companies that are in this space that you're trying to get into, right? You need to look at what are your strengths, your brand strengths. Okay, I'm good at this. I can shoot this really well. I'm good at talking on the phone. Cool. What are your weaknesses? What can you guys make up for? What are the opportunities in the market that you're trying to go after? And then what are the threats? What do these other big dogs do? What are they doing better than you? What can you not compete on realistically? Okay, they have, $1 million worth of camera gear. We're not going to be able to get that right off the bat. We're not going to be able to beat them on that.
Yeah.
But if we're going after TikTok content, all I need is the phone and maybe like an a ZV-1 or something to shoot the stuff. We can compete there, and that's going to be our competitive advantage. The other thing, when you're going up against really big companies that have been around for a while, usually they're slow. Their process is slow. It's like, oh, hey, that's going to take 2 weeks to go to color. It's going to take 2 weeks to do this. It's like, hey, we're smaller and we can actually get this done a lot faster because you're the only thing that I'm focusing on. So when you're going after, I just gave you guys just a gold mine of pitch right there.
Well, we literally had a call with a company yesterday, you guys. And Brayden said a fucking awesome line to the guy. He goes, I've been doing media days, for the past 5 years with the Lakers. Something that sports teams do incredibly well is speed because you got to be quick, right? The guy who we were on the call with, he goes, I love how fast you guys move. And Brayden goes, we can bring the speed that I was doing with sports into what we're doing with this content for this brand. That is like a competitive advantage because if you're working with a bigger production agency,
dude, you're not their only client. They got 15 clients they're doing that month, right?
The time is going to be a lot longer. So he loved that. A few other things happen when you specialize, okay? You're able to charge a price premium. Let's take the example of a restaurant. If I want the best Italian food, okay, I'm not gonna go to an all-you-can-eat buffet where you can get, steak and seafood and pasta. I wanna go to a really nice Italian restaurant. If you think about restaurants, and you want the best food, if you want the best steak, if you want the best Thai food, if you want the best Italian food, you're gonna go to a restaurant that specializes in that cuisine. They've then positioned themselves as like them doing that dish the best, so you're willing to pay a premium price because you want the best of that food.
And you're willing to wait. You're like,
exactly.
Dude, I'll wait an hour. I'll wait an hour for the steak.
Exactly.
Because I know it's gonna be insane.
Along with specializing, like when you become super focused on what it is that you do, you can then market yourself a lot easier. If you do a bunch of different things, it's harder to market yourself, and without a clear vision of like what it is you do, marketing yourself is kind of pointless because if you're for everybody, you're for nobody.
Chris Doe said that.
Yeah. Also, when you're a specialist, you build trust easily with the client. If you have proof of concept, right? We brought up if you have a nice car, you want to go to the Ferrari mechanic. When we get married, we're going to want to hire a wedding photographer and videographer. Now, when you're specialized and you have the proof of concept that like you can do this before, your client now has trust in you because they've seen your portfolio. They've seen that you've, done it before, and they're like, okay, they've done it before. I know I can trust them to do it for us as well. There's a lot of you guys who want to like, shoot a specific type of niche, but you haven't shot that niche before. So like, why would a big client, a client that is your dream client, why would they want to work with you if you don't have proof of concept? Like you need the proof of concept, and that builds trust with the client.
Someone had hit me up, multiple people hit me up, and they're like, do I need to shoot sports to get that Lakers job? I'm like, no. You don't need to shoot sports. No shit, dude. You got to shoot some sports. You got to have, it doesn't have to be at that same level, but the quality of content, regardless if you're doing Pop Warner or if you're doing a Little League game, it needs to feel like a damn movie. If you're going to go plug and play that for the biggest brand in basketball, right? Like no one is ever going to pay you for the most part to do something you've never done unless you're just Costas Garcia and they're like, hey, we want you to go on tour with us. Yeah. It's rare, it's like 1 in 100, like that's going to actually happen. And the other thing too, when I think about differentiation, like you have price, obviously, right? Yeah. A lot of people in the film world aren't like as inclusive to the client. They're just like, like they're just going to do their thing. I'm just going to do my thing. I'm going to set up these lights, whatever. If you can make it feel like an experience to work with you, they're going to want to keep coming back, dude. Totally. At the end of the day, people want to work with cool people that they can hang out with for extended periods of time, right? So if there's an experience that you provide, you're like, yo, something that we do, like any shoot for the most part, if it's like a shoot, we got a lot of people. I'm bringing donuts, bringing the pink boxes. Yeah. People get fired up when they see those pink boxes come onto set. They're like, oh my God, it's making me happy. We're getting a little sugar in the body. We're feeling good. Everyone's excited when you get a donut, dude. And it's like those little things, while that seems like something so minuscule, it just makes working with you a little bit more fun.
And it's in your control. A lot of photography and filmmaking is out of your control, and problem solving. What is in your control is bringing a good attitude and some donuts to set.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I've worked with people before that are little sad rain clouds on set, and I'm immediately in my head, I'm like, that person sucks. We're not hiring them back because they're not being nice right now. They're not being kind to like the other people on the set. They're being rude and they're just not enjoying their job. And it's like, you want to be around people that enjoy the thing that they do and bring up everybody and not are like, oh my God, it's a fire drill. Every time I'm like, okay, move that. It's like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, just go move the damn light. Just move the light. It's very simple. Thank you. Go move that. It's just like, that happens time and time again, and you can control those things, right? And it's like, dude, we had a rock the other day come help us out on set. Keith was insane. He did amazing, super happy to be there, very helpful. Everyone told me, they're like, where'd you find that guy? I'm like, oh, he's a rock, dude. Listen,
oh, you mean the 505
podcast? You mean
podcast?
the 505 pod guy? Yeah. Keith, awesome. They're like, we should get him out more often. I'm like, 100%. It's because he was awesome to work with. He was really good at what he did. He listened to people. He's very helpful. He's like, oh, can I help you here? Can I help you here? They want to bring you back. Yeah. Right. And it's like every time I go to do a shoot, like I've done this one event for the last like 4 years. And they're like, you guys just come, you have a really good time, you capture everything that we need, and it's fun to work with you guys. It's like, there's probably someone out there that can make a better event video without a doubt, but they want to work with us because we're fun on set. We're getting everything that they need. Their client's really happy with it. They're like, these guys are great. Yeah. Keep them coming back, you know? And then you develop these long lasting relationships and your business continues to thrive.
Absolutely. We're talking about specialization and why that is super important for you to end up working with your dream client, because the fact of the matter is, to work with a dream client, you have to be specialized in something because the big clients are working with the people who are specialized at said thing. Now, with that being said, just because you are specialized doesn't mean you can't do other things. Think of it as like a T. Like you can have a lot of things that you do. You're wide on a lot of things. You have a lot of different skills. You're a jack of all trades, but go deep in one. So you look at it as a T. Like there are a few, or there are multiple different things that you do, but you're really specialized and deep in one.
I think people might be a little nervous to specialize because they think they might be pigeonholed into this one thing. So what do you have to say to someone that's maybe thinking that right now with your advice?
There's 4 things that people might be worried about when it comes to specialization. And the first is, I'll miss out on opportunities. The second one is, I'll be bored because I'm shooting the same stuff every time. The third is, I don't have enough experience. And the fourth is, I don't know how. So Brayden, let's start with like the first fear. I'll miss out on opportunities. Why should someone not have that be a fear for specialization?
Because you're going to be the go-to rock at said thing, right? Like you're going to say no to some of these clients that are coming your way. Dude, I remember vividly when I said, hey, I'm not going to take that job. It doesn't align with what I'm doing. You're not valuing like my work. I didn't say that to them. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And I was like, gosh darn it, I'm missing. Dude, I wanted to do it. That money. I wanted that money, dude. I wanted the bread. I knew I could do it. And I'm like, I can't do that right now because that doesn't align with the things that I'm trying to do. And it was so scary. I'm leaving money on the table. Is that what I was thinking? A week later, another client comes to me at the exact same time as I would have had to shoot that other job. And this person's like, oh, we're going to pay you like 3 times as much because we want this specific thing that you do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost just said yes because I was being greedy and I wanted to do that job just for the bread because I needed it at that moment. But by saying no to that one client, it allowed this other client to come knocking on my door. And obviously, like, I'm not telling you guys to say no if you need money. If there's $5 in your bank account, don't say no to those jobs. But if you're consistently getting gigs and you know that you're good at the said thing, you can say no to people because you're allowing room for this other company, this other client to come into your life and actually crush something that you actually want to do. Give me reason number 2.
So reason number 2 is you're going to create higher value for yourself. You're not going to miss out on opportunities, and the opportunities that are actually going to come your way are actually going to pay you more because your perceived and your positioning is of higher value.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about this with the content that you create, right? You got to think about who you're speaking to on social. Many of you are just posting the most random things. It's like photos of your buddies, nothing wrong with that. Love the rocks. But then it's like, oh, hey, I did this client thing. And then it's like, oh, hey, there's this aesthetic photo dump of like the trees and some rocks and stuff. And they just don't have like that thing that you do really well. They just get a little confused. It's almost similar to like buyer's confusion when you like land on a website and there's a bunch of different things. You don't really know exactly what it is that you want. Same thing goes with maybe your website or your profile. It's like you land on their website and they're like concerts, weddings, sports. It's like, Do we want to work with this person?
Lifestyle.
They
also model.
They also model sometimes. It's like, all right, what is it that this person actually does?
Yeah.
And if they go to another person's page and it's like, I do cars the best.
Yeah.
I'm the car person. It's like, that's who they're going to go after for these campaigns. Anytime I get on the phone with people that hire me, I ask them like, how'd you find me? You guys should do that. You should be like, oh, how'd you source me? Oh, I saw you on TikTok, or I saw you on Instagram, or I saw you on LinkedIn. And then you can get a better idea of what it is that connect with them. Oh, I saw this, and then I got hit with this, and then I got hit with this. It's like, Kane Calloway brought this up. Like, what is the ecosystem for what people are finding you and in your business? It's super important with like as a creator, but think about it in your business.
Totally.
Are you doing cold outreach and then they hit on an email? Are you calling them and then they are like, oh, maybe not, and then you email a follow up and that's how they're actually converting to get on a phone call with you?
Yeah.
You need to be thinking about those things and documenting and tracking it with these clients, because then you're gonna have a system and know, hey, okay, the first touch point doesn't work, but it gets them in our mind, and then that second touch point they get hit with an ad from us and they actually go do buy our product, or they do make a meeting with our brand. What's number 3?
Well, I'll give you another one.
Okay, give me another one.
It's referrals.
Ooh, how do you get
Right?
referrals?
Well, you do a really good job for someone and they're like, hey, I got somebody else. You got to work with them.
We're at the stage of life now where all of our buddies usually have a go-to person for said thing.
Totally.
It's like, hey, I need my roof done. This other dude's already had his roof done. He's like, you should hire this guy.
Yeah.
He's amazing at it, right? And it's the same thing in our space but if you don't ask, you're not going to get referrals a lot of the time. Like, closed mouths don't get fed. I've said that before. But if you do really good work for someone, sometimes like they'll do that out of the kindness of their heart. They'll say, hey, you need to go talk to my buddy.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time you crush it for them. They're like, hey, I loved this. You should say, hey, is there any other buddies of yours that you think could use our services? And if that is the case, you could even do something where it's like, hey, next month if you're doing work with him consistently, I'll knock off a few $100 if you go get me a few more clients. That is going to exponentially help you guys grow and it's also in your best interest to crush it for these brands or for these people or little small businesses, whatever, because birds of a feather flock together, dude. They're going to business owners, no other business owners.
Exactly.
Creators, no other creators. That's like in their circle. We're doing the same thing. We're crushing it at this. You have to ask, otherwise they're just not going to hand it up to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep getting more leads and more great people to work with.
Also, if you're making great content for a business, because other business owners know the business person that you're, doing stuff for, they're going to see the content and be like, who did that for you? And it's just naturally going to come to you. So when you specialize, referrals come, and like word of mouth is the best business because you don't really necessarily have to sell yourself. Like you have trust built from like a mutual connection, and you specialize in your work. So it's like an easy sell.
You can use the example with this podcast. When we have someone on that has a fun time on the show, they are so likely to say, you need to talk to this person.
Yeah.
And it's like so seamless because they're the one reaching out. I'm not having to cold outreach to this person. And they're saying, hey, you got to get on this show. I had such a good time. And it's the same thing in your business. Like if you're cold outreaching, 99% of the time, 98% of the time, you're going to get told no, maybe 97, right? You'll get told no. But then if we have a friend hit them up and say, hey, you got to work with this person. They're fantastic. They're going to say, yeah, no brainer. They're not even going to like wince at that phone call. They're like, yeah, how much does it cost? It costs this. Cool. Let's do it.
The next fear is I'll be bored. Now, a reason why you don't need to worry about being bored is because when you get really good at something, it's really satisfying. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Seeing progress is really motivating. It's the same in the gym, right?
I've been seeing tons of progress recently.
Me too. Probably more than you. But I started off a little bit, it's the newbie gains. You know what I'm saying? But no, seriously, like the first couple, days or first couple weeks in the gym, you might not be seeing as much progress. But then, like week 3, week 4, week 6, week 8 rolls around and you're looking in the gym. Maybe your girl is telling you you're looking a little bigger. Baby, what's going on? Like I borrowed some steroids from Brayden. But seriously, like the more you do something and the better you get at something, you're going to master it, and that's going to bring satisfaction.
I'll add to that. When you've done something too for a really long period of time, like I shot over 300 basketball games, right? I annihilated shooting basketball games. The first like 50, maybe you're like getting the hang of it. When I came into season 2, season 3, season 4, I specifically know where I need to be to get the best shots. I've seen it like 100 times. I know exactly where I need to be. And then it allows you to get creative with certain things.
Totally.
Like at first I'm just like, okay, I got to just get the shot. And then I'm like, oh, I could crash zoom on his foot when he lands on this 3 and it looks so sick. Or I can pan up and hold the top handle and get a much different shot than just sitting there static. And you start to get so deep into the craft that you're finding out these new things every time you go shoot. And like, even with the podcast, when we're first starting out, if you go back to like episode 1, the camera is like low, and then the second episode it's like higher, and then like our lights aren't proper, and then Chase has a random tripod on the table because we don't all have the same mic. But every single time we sit down to do the show, we get like one little baby % better. And now when we do the pod, it feels like just the back of my hand. I'm not nervous anymore. I used to get wicked nervous when we do it. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be able, where are we going to be able to say something for an hour? Are we going to be able to flow in a circle? And through mastery, it just gets more fun, honestly.
And those bring like the passion projects, and you get to work on cooler stuff. Let's say you specialize in events, right? Okay. When you're first starting out and you're a jack of all trades, you're shooting a bunch of different things. Maybe the events aren't that sick, right? But when you're the go-to events guy, maybe you're now shooting the Grammys, or the ESPYs. Like, you do events like the best. So now you're in the really cool rooms and shooting the cool events. Or you take a wedding photographer, right? Like, if you're specialized in weddings, okay, now maybe you're getting flown out to Greece. And that's a lot more fun than doing, a wedding in who knows where.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Exactly. Fuck Albuquerque.
Dude, that's the 505 area code.
Shout out Albuquerque.
Come on, dude. I love Albuquerque.
But you actually won't be bored, because if you specialize, you get way cooler projects than if you don't specialize.
1000%.
The third fear is I don't have enough experience. And I think the thing you need to remember is that like everybody starts somewhere. You look at your favorite creators, you look at your favorite photographers, videographers, it's really easy to look at them at where they are right now and like take it for face value and be like, oh, they're so much better than me. But you have to remember that everybody at some point picks up a camera and is a beginner. So like you have to start somewhere.
Dude, all of us start as little grains of sand, little baby grains of sand. If you scroll down to your favorite creator, post number 1, they suck. Mm-hmm. They're trash. That's just how it goes, dude. You're not good. Your color's off. You're overexposed. Yeah. Like, dude, even when I got my job, I like at the Lakers, I went back and looked at like year 1 as I was compiling all the footage for that video that we dropped. And it's trash. It's terrible. My framing's off. My tracking is terrible. Everything's bad. But after like shooting 100 games, you look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've made so much progress on this thing. You really have to just fall in love with the process of it. And after your shoots, this is a great practice that you guys should add in. If you do a professional shoot where someone's exchanging some money for you to go actually do something, or a project, right? The first time you're just going to be like rattled and you're going to be like trying to do a bunch of different things at once. But then you go back home and you should write down, this went really well. This went really bad. I need to not do that next time. Or this is something that I think could have made it go more smooth. And every time you start to slowly chip away at your process and what makes it better, you're going to look back in 6 months and be like, oh my gosh, I now have a way, like I have the Costas Garcia way that I do things. And this is how it happens, right? Even think about how you edit the pod from the first day to now, like, I went back to your Project One podcast. It's just a mess. It's just unbelievable.
I think it was pretty dialed.
It was unbelievable. I go back to the last pod. Everything's super easy to find. The edit's insane. It's like, that's just how it goes when you do something consistently.
Well, also, you get better exponentially quicker if you do something consistently and you specialize in it. Like you were saying, you were shooting basketball games damn near every single day. So your rate of growth is going to be a lot faster than somebody who's like maybe shooting it once a month. So I don't have enough experience. If you're doing something a lot more frequently, like that limiting belief goes away a lot quicker, because your rate of growth is going to be a lot faster when you specialize in something.
Definitely. And you guys can also, you can buy access to people that you want to be like. That's a crazy concept. People aren't talking about it enough. Dude, like I've paid mentors thousands of dollars to learn information that would have taken me years
Yeah.
to do, right? And I've paid people to learn things. I've paid people to teach me specific processes that I want to know. And usually like it's not like a crazy number. Like you guys are, many of you are probably like, oh, it costs this much money. Dude, just ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. You got to ask. You can get direct access to learn from the people that you want to be like, or you want to like learn from.
Yeah.
It's 2024. You can just DM them. You're one DM away from shaking hands or being in a room with someone that you really admire or that you want to be like, or like you're like, wow, I really want to get on shoots like that.
Yeah.
Hey, you just DM them and you catch them on a good day. Maybe they're like, oh my gosh, we need a PA to do this. Or could you drive this far for this thing? Yes, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it in half the time.
Or you can sign up for the waitlist for our cohort and pay us, and then you can learn from us. And it goes live on September 17th, but spots are limited, so you got to sign up for the waitlist. Link in the description. Okay, the fourth fear.
What's the fourth fear?
Is I don't know how.
Okay. That's a bad one, dude.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate that DM. Dude, I don't know where to start, brother.
The thing is, though,
go listen to episode 1.
Is like there are so many resources out there. I mean, YouTube University, the 505 podcast.
It bothers me when I get the I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you're clearly on my page. Yeah. It's free game. I'm giving you so much free game. You should listen to the pod. You should just Google it, right? We got to get back into Googling as a society. And now we got ChatGPT.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
There's no excuse to not know where to get started.
Yeah.
And then it's just about compounding these little habits. It's like getting in a consistent flow.
Yeah.
Same thing with going to the gym, dude. If you're listening to this and maybe you're not fit at all, right? First thing maybe we could do is maybe we go on a walk at night.
Sure.
Baby steps, dude. You don't have to go from like 0 to David Goggins, right? Mm-hmm. With anything that you do. It's like that. I think it's a paralysis of not knowing what to go after. Because I will say, I'm going to take back what I said, because I think it is easy actually to get in this place of like, it's a paralysis of there's too many options.
Okay.
Right? So there's ChatGPT, there's Google. Even though I would just Google the damn thing or ChatGPT it, there's so many things that they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Or
you know what I mean?
Or you could Google something and it might give you like 2 different answers.
Yeah, it gives you like a little bit of scarcity. Sure. This is what you should do, okay? With any venture that you're going after, and I've taken this and put it into anything that I do. I look at said thing that I want to get better at, and I just try shit. And usually I fail. Right? Like most of the time I fail at the things that I do. Like
Sure.
the video thing, I was terrible at it. I'm making awful videos for months, right? But then eventually you get a little process down. You're like, oh, I see that if I frame this thing on a little third, it looks better. Nice. And then you get like one little step to get you closer in the right direction. But you just need to analyze what it is that you want to go after. Okay, I want to make a podcast. Cool. I just need an iPhone, or I just need a phone to record myself. And I need to clean up the edit a little bit in Adobe Podcast, or I need to clean it up in Final Cut Pro, CapCut, Adobe Premiere Pro. I need to post my first episode if I want to be a podcaster.
Totally.
And then I post my first episode, I need to get number 2 out the next week. And you build this consistency and it compounds. And like that saying, get 1% better. It's truth. It's so true. It's something I live by. If I wanted to get fit in the gym, okay? Back to Little Rock Fig, senior year of high school. I was 130 pounds when I graduated. Super tiny. I started going to the gym.
That's how much I weigh.
Shut up. I was very intimidated. So I would wear a hoodie to the gym and I'd wear sweatpants because I felt like, I'm so skinny, I'm scrawny, like I just can't do this yet. And there was monsters at my gym. They were so big. Started going, and then what I would do, dude, exactly what I'm telling you guys to do right now. I went up to the biggest guy in the gym. His name was Alex. I vividly remember it. He looks just like Tom Cruise. Scary looks like Tom Cruise. I'm like, you should be a stunt double. I'm like, Alex, I go up and introduce myself to this guy. I said, hey, I got a question. We come here at the same time every day. If I came tomorrow, could I work out with you? I was like, I'll literally pay you. And he goes, you don't have to pay me, but if you come at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God, damn it, dude. I go at 6 a.m. Me and this guy worked out that whole summer. Bro, by the end of the summer, I was like 170 going into college. And he's like, all you got to do is eat what I tell you to eat and show up and work out with me. By the end of the summer, you'll be yoked. I literally got a blueprint from a guy who was way more jacked than me and learned exactly what he did. And then I'd met another guy at the gym. He like left and went to another gym. I met another guy, started picking his brain about, we go at the same time. You start to just like naturally see these people. It's like, oh, what's up? Pretty soon I'd go to the gym. I was like the mayor of 24-hour fitness. You walk in, I got my one homie here. I got my other homie here. I'm like, I don't know what any of us do for work, but we're just all guys and we like to go to the gym. It's like, that just happens.
But you found a mentor.
I found a mentor.
And that expedites the process like so much quicker, because there's something that everybody wants to learn, and there's somebody that's put in the 10,000 hours already who knows exactly how to get from point A to point B, get you to where you want to go a lot quicker because they've put in the 10,000 hours, and you just got to find a mentor and they'll teach you how to do it.
The last thing we're going to leave you guys with is repositioning. Okay.
Ooh.
I put a fancy word in front of positioning.
Nice.
Okay. And it's essentially like switching up everything that you're doing and going after like a different target demographic, or you're going into a new niche, or you're creating content about something completely separate. So how have you repositioned yourself over these years? Because we both went through a pretty crazy transformation, specifically on social media.
Well, let me tell you something.
Tell me
Brayden.
something.
If you scroll deep enough back on my Instagram, it's like a completely different person. When I was younger, okay, I was on a few shows on YouTube, and I was known for like the Teens React stuff, and I would do Instagram, but like I would be in front of the camera kind of modeling, but like not modeling. I was trying to be like a lifestyle influencer. Just honestly not a great look, but I really wanted to do photography and videography, and I was confused as to why like I wasn't getting as many, you know, jobs as I wanted to, and it would kind of really bother me when someone would be like, "Oh, you're like a model, right?" And I'm like, "No, what the fuck? I just like happen to be in front of the camera sometimes for Instagram to get an aesthetic photo, but like I really am like a photographer, videographer." So then something changed. I was like, you know what? I'm sick of people saying this to me. I need to reposition myself and think about my content differently. I need to start bringing in my photo and video work into my content. And once I did that, I repositioned myself, and I honestly, like, I lost some followers of people who like originally found me on Teens React or the Summer Break show. But then I gained new followers and I gained new opportunities because I repositioned myself and I brought my new thing of what I wanted to do into my content. The thing is, like, it can be kind of daunting if you're like, everybody knows me for this. If I post this different kind of content, they might judge me or they might unfollow me. I might not get as much engagement. But the thing is, like, you just got to start, and anyone can reposition themselves. Like, if you're shooting a niche that you're not loving and you want to try something new, I'm in the process of doing it now. Like, I was doing concerts, and now I'm repositioning myself into like other stuff. So don't be afraid to reposition yourself if you're not loving what it is you're doing at this current moment.
Yeah. And like, I was very conscious of this while shooting the Lakers, because I did not want my entire page to be LeBron highlights.
Absolutely.
Because then if someone follows it, for the most part, they're going to be just a fan of LeBron or a fan of the Lakers or a fan of AD, whatever, right?
And it's hard in your position because you're like, it's such low-hanging
fruit, dude.
I know it's going to get like insane engagement, but it's not all I want people to know me for.
And I was trying my best to give value-driven content that I thought would help people.
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff that's going to get shared. That's what's actually going to get someone to send this to a friend and be like, yo, you got to check this out because this really helped me, right? And it's like, you see the pages out there and there's nothing wrong with this at all. But it's just like player highlights, right?
Sure.
And they're getting maybe jobs for that. And if they're like, maybe that person is like, I want to get jobs for me, not just like for the work, right?
Sure.
Maybe that's the thing, but that's all they know you for right now is like, you just post these player highlight videos, which is totally fine. But I was very conscious of like, I want to get into lifestyle content creation.
Sure.
I want like a brand to say, hey, I want the BFIGGY guy to do this thing because he can talk to the camera and he could also go like film something cool, right? That's where I wanted to position myself in my space, in the content creator landscape. And it's important to be conscious of that, because you could get to where you're just doing this one thing, and then if you hate it and you want to switch it up, there is going to be that friction point where you're like, oh man, I'm dropping off people. Like, it happened when I was in school. I was known as the fitness guy in college for a period of time. Super, you know, like,
yeah, you're not really known as the fitness guy anymore.
Yeah,
huh?
I'd say it still stays. And it's like, I was making gym videos, right? Yeah. All the people that I was following, connecting with on Instagram were into the fitness space.
Sure.
So when I said, oh my gosh, I like being behind the camera, I like doing this stuff too, and I completely switched the content, everyone, they just unfollowed me.
Yeah.
Because they're not there for that. They were there like, hey, I wanted fitness tips. I wanted to learn from the story. And like, some of you that have followed me for like 8+ years, you know the stuff that I'm talking about. Thank you for sticking along for the ride. We're still figuring it out. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, all 2 of you who have stuck around.
Thank you, all 3 of you guys who have stayed here for the journey, and it's all good. But that's just what happens. I think of another story about JT Barnett.
Yeah.
When JT switched from the hockey content, all the hockey fans were like, yo, JT, we don't care about the business stuff. We don't care about social media. We're just here for the hockey stuff. And they unfollow you. And you have to slowly build back that momentum. Yeah. The only thing you can do, though, and that you can actually control is just showing up.
Totally.
You can't control what the algorithm does. You can't control how many likes or how many comments. You can just control how you show up and your attitude towards showing up. And it's hard, dude. It's hard when you switch.
Yeah.
Because those people that were originally there, maybe you're at like 100 people that are following your journey, or you're at 1,000 or 10,000. When you do make the shift over, people aren't going to care anymore. And you have to understand, though, that as you continue to post the things that you care about, you're going to attract the tribe that does care about the things that you also care about. So it's a slow journey. It's an uphill battle, but you're going to get there if you just start chipping away.
There's also another side of repositioning. You can reposition yourself, and you can also reposition the competition.
Ooh, how do you reposition the competition?
And this is the last thing we're going to leave you with. So let's say you get hit up by a lead, a potential new client, but they're talking to a few different people. What you want to do is you want to reposition the way that they're thinking about the other clients. So Alex Hormozi gives a really great example. When he was doing gyms, he had, what was it? Gym launch?
Gym launch.
Right? Okay. So he was like the top dog at coming into these gyms and helping them launch these gyms. There was probably other people who were also doing similar stuff to what he was doing. Now, the way that he could win the competition is by saying, we're the best. We're the biggest. Like, why would you want to work with this like
little dog McGee here?
Little guy, right?
Yeah.
This pebble. Come work with me. I'm the best at what I do.
Boulder.
Look at all of these like clients that I work with. Now, if you take the other guy, the peewee, the pebble, the small rock, and he's going up against Alex Hormozi, he could say like, why do you want to work with Alex? He's like the big dog, but like, he has so many different clients. He's not going to be able to give you a personal experience like I am. I only like to work with a few clients. Okay. I like to give my clients a very personal experience. And that's the way that you can reposition a client. You want to reshape how the potential lead, the potential new client thinks about the competition to be like, oh yeah, man, I thought I might have wanted to go with them, but like, maybe not. I want to work with you because you have a different way of thinking, or you're positioning yourself a little bit differently.
Repositioning yourself. I know you all have it in you. The waitlist is live right now. It's the first link in the description for the DCA Dream Client Accelerator. I really hope you check it out if you're trying to take your creative business to the next level.
And here's the thing. If you guys found value in this specific pod, just think about like this on steroids.
Oh yeah.
Like
for hours.
And more personal, we're going to give super specific examples, and we're going to go through the whole process of like how to position yourself, how to generate leads, the whole business side
sales
of being
process,
creative, how to handle calls, like the whole thing. So if you guys want to start landing your dream clients like we do, join the waitlist and let's get you guys signed up.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 123 of the 505 podcast. If you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, drop us a like, and we'll see you guys all next week. Peace.